You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo!
My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You're now listening to BaaD Radio.
Good morning and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are live in studio and we are now a 2-hour show from 10 to noon. I'm your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me we have DJ Heather, the producer.
Good morning.
And she wore her pink shirt. She got the memo.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a memo, but, you know.
I'm just messing with you, Melissa.
Oddball out.
Oh, no. I'll have to make up for it.
I was feeling a little pink today. So up next, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand, our co-host and videographer.
Good morning.
Good
nice
morning.
To be here.
Yeah, no, I know. It's always nice to be here. I love show day.
Sundays are great.
If you go to baadradio.com under episodes, you can see all of BaaD Radio's videos from last year. Striking Brand has been producing our weekly YouTube videos, and they are fantastic. I actually started to go through them the other day and just watching clips from the different shows, and I was like, okay, they are pretty good. Okay. Not the videos, but like the content. Yeah. So, but you can also see the rest of Melissa's work on strikingbrand.com. So she does photography and videography. And please join me in welcoming attorney Brooke Boltz, founder of Boltz Legal.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, girl, you're going to have to speak up.
She's just warming
I'm
up.
shy all of a sudden.
She's warming up. Give her a second.
I told Melissa, I was like, yeah, I'm like, we're going to, because we have 2 hours. Because like last time you were on the show, you start off shy. And then by the time we got rolling, you were like really, really out there. But then the show ended.
Yeah.
So
it's just us.
And today is actually a little bit different because Brooke actually brought her own guests. So this is the first time I have a business in the studio that I have not met before. So please welcome Dr. Allan with On the Go Chiropractic.
On the move chiropractic.
On the move.
But that's
almost got it. I didn't look. So
you got the premise behind it.
Right. Well, I found out just like about 30 minutes ago why you call it that. So I want to go into that whole story because it sounds fantastic. The number to call is 321-339-1055. That's 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Frogger's Bar and Grill. Hop in with food and fun. If you're looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones, you have to go to Frogger's. 4 locations, tons of TVs, and the best food you could imagine. Everything is fresh, never frozen, so you have to check out their menu at froggers.com with locations in Mount Dora, Oviedo, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. And I don't know if I told you this, Melissa, but they want us to do a live remote on Super Bowl Sunday. At Frogger's.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. So we got to get a tent and we're going to be on site.
Oh, it's going to be fun.
I know. Probably before the game, though, because once the game starts, nobody wants to mess with radio people.
Yeah, they're doing their own thing.
But how fun is that?
That's going to be fun.
I was like, you just want to have cute girls there, don't you? And he was like, well, maybe.
What?
Also, a huge thank you to Liberty Property Inspections, libertypropertyinspections.net, helping you protect your investment. All right. So we're going to talk about business stuff now. Heather, do we have a caller on the line just yet?
Not yet. I'll let you know.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about who we have featuring today for the networking news.
Okay. So first, before we get into that, we're going to say that the networking news is brought to you by Live Your Best Life. Live Your Best Life is an independent advocate for Green Compass USDA certified organic hemp products. They offer a complete range of products, including hemp wellness, targeted health, personal care, performance, even products for our furry friends, which I did see on their website. They had like bacon-flavored tinctures, like CBD tinctures.
Well, do you know CBD helps your animals? Like we started giving it to Roxy when for the fireworks.
Oh, to calm her down. Yeah, and travel too. Also, it says to get some more information on these products or becoming a consultant, call Terry at 407-616-3145.
All right. So as we wait for the caller, so tell me who we have calling in today.
It's Roxanne Ferguson. She's the president of the Oviedo Winter Springs Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So she helps organize everything, and she works with the businesses that are in the community. She's amazing to work with. Just honestly, the chamber in general. I don't know if you're part of.
I am not. I know you probably are, right, Brooke?
Yeah, I'm a part of Several.
Yeah.
But I always, whenever I think of Brooke, I always think of like her saying, "I just want to own Oviedo," and I was like, "All right, I like that." What are some of the things that the chamber does? Because I mean, it's smaller. Because I've been part of the Sanford, Seminole County Chamber.
Okay.
And I mean, it's kind of massive. Is it?
Right. Well, it's pretty. I mean, I think it's a decent size, and then they split it up into different groups and do different activities. So there's even like an Oviedo business women's like networking thing where it's just Oviedo women that meet together.
I want to be part of that.
That's really neat. And then they have a bunch of events. They have things at Rock and Brews often, and then they have, they have evening.
Like kind of like cocktail kind of thing.
Yeah, and then they have like coffee things too. So depending on where your availability is, they make it to where you can get together and network with Oviedo business people.
But you said Winter Springs too, because I live in Winter Springs.
It's joined. So they used to just have one. They used to just be separated, and then they joined together.
It makes sense.
Yeah, they're so close, and it helps to be able to support the two communities having them linked like that.
Well, the way that I think about Winter Springs is just kind of Tuscaloosa and that stretch down 434 between Oviedo and Longwood.
Right.
I mean, where else does Winter Springs actually go? Because if you can go down Tuscaloosa, but if you even veer a little bit to the right, you're in Castleberry. So, I mean,
it's kind of tiny.
It is,
so it's
right?
good that they're grouped together and kind of support each other. So
and then Oviedo stretches out. There's like a place that's called Tainsville.
I know.
Every time I
had
there.
to look that up. I'm like, where did that name come from? Somebody did that on purpose.
What did it say?
I think that I don't know. It was something where they couldn't. Don't quote me on this, but they couldn't name the area for whatever reason, government rule reasons. So somebody just put up a sign and it stuck. It's like that tracks. That tracks.
So I wonder if Tainsville, is that part of Oviedo?
Ooh, I don't know. Just like, what is this? It feels like it just is Oviedo, and somebody just wanted to put the sign there. Right. Like there's nothing there.
I'm way too immature. That's just all I got to say.
I thought the same thing, so don't worry. I did the research on it. So.
It's a village.
Did you just Google it?
Yeah, it's just considered a village between Oviedo and Chuluota.
It's considered a village.
Chuluota.
Chuliota?
Chuliota's
how I say it.
My sister lives out there. So tell me about some of the businesses that are in there.
Oh my gosh, it varies. So the Rock and Brews, where I said that they do a lot of their meetings, Tavo, he manages that one, and he's part of the chamber. And then you have mayors that have been part of the chamber. It just honestly varies from small businesses that don't have a rock and mortar. Is that
brick and mortar?
Brick and mortar. Thank you. That are like small businesses where women will make. I think Oviedo Bomb Moms is one. They make those like hot cocoa bombs that you put into.
Fun.
Yeah. So from that, and then a franchise owner of the Chick-fil-A, I think.
Nice.
So it's across the board, and you can meet a bunch of really cool people.
It's what's her name with my Oviedo store? Is she in there too?
Emma. I think so. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we went there. Have you ever been to my Oviedo store?
Yes.
Do you like? I frequent there often, and I spend way too much money. But they have so much good stuff. It's right in my wheelhouse too. I went there and I bought tons of stuff for Christmas presents.
That is what. If anybody wants to support small businesses and they want to get gifts, especially for Christmas, I think that's the best place to go, because Emma puts a lot of small business owners into her store too.
Yeah.
So she helps support local as well. So then you'll be getting unique Christmas gifts.
That's what it was. It was for all because there was a lot of UCF stuff.
Right.
A chicken. I always get my sister chicken stuff because she's like vegan, vegetarian, like animal lover. And so I'm like, every year she gets something chicken. And she lives in Chiliota, so it's close to Oviedo and the Oviedo chickens. But like you said, ornaments and the building is just cool.
Yeah. She changed. It was a home, and then she.
Yeah. No, actually, I worked for a company that was in that building for a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yes. My husband. It's called KMDG.
Okay.
And so you're where you have your your
studio?
photo place, that was the owner Rob's office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I used to work there for about 6 months.
Oh, so you work there, now I work there.
I know, small world.
Yeah, that's where my studio is now. So if anybody who needs headshots.
Actually, the last time I was there, Emma gave me a tour.
Oh, cute.
I was like, I know her.
Yeah.
Small world. And then what about, so is that where you met Master Roberts?
The chamber, yes.
Yes.
She's in there as well. So yeah, like I said, and they're doing amazing, by the way. They came in, and I think the chamber really helped in that way too.
Master Roberts?
Yes, because they're in the chamber for Winter Springs in Oviedo as well.
I saw her at the Winter Springs Art Festival.
Okay,
she was set up.
Every event they're set up, and the chamber puts a lot of those events on. So that's another way they give business owners an opportunity to put their name out there and sponsor it. So,
do you guys know who Master Roberts is? Do you know?
No.
Melissa put us in contact with each other, and she came here. So she came in, and when I first saw her, she looked like just a teenager to me, right? So, but it turns out she's like a Taekwondo master.
Yeah.
And she owns her own dojo. And I was completely blown away with this young lady.
She's amazing.
And she came and she was on the show, and like I said, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's so important not to like judge people by that first appearance, because she looked like somebody that would be friends with my 18-year-old daughter that, you know, I would like go take them for ice cream and stuff.
And she's a powerful businesswoman. Like, she is killing it.
So awesome.
Yeah. And she
it.
does amazing. I've done a couple of shoots for her for different events, and you can tell that they just really love and care about all the kids. I mean, it's partly the chamber and partly that they're just amazing at what they do. But yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like I said, I definitely want to be part. Are they the ones that set up that the Great Day in the Country event too?
Ooh, I don't know about that one. I'm not sure. I know that the art festival is definitely one. The Taste of Oviedo is the big one that's really big that they do.
Right. So that it's Oviedo, Winter Springs, and then you said that there is like local businesses, but there's also franchise.
Right.
Like you said, Chick-fil-A.
Right. So you can, I mean, if you're a business owner, it doesn't really matter. Don't have to have your own business, you know. Like
Is it expensive?
Not really, no. And especially with what you get out of it. So I can't remember how much it is, but
it's okay. You don't have to say it on the air, but I'm just curious. So how do you go about becoming a member?
You can look them up online. I know for sure. I don't have the website right offhand. But if you Google, if you Googled Winter Springs or Oviedo Winter Springs Chamber of Commerce, it should come up, and then they make it really easy to find like how to access them.
Can I go to a meeting before I join? Like, actually, what's the event I'm coming to in end of the month?
Oh, that's a mixer. Excuse me. That is a mixer that's going to happen, and that's the first one that they're having this year. I think that is kind of sponsored by a business that's in the chamber.
Okay.
So I haven't been to one like this, so I'm not really sure, but I know that the business who's sponsoring it is Celebrate Everything. And Stephanie, she's a small business owner as well. She puts those signs in front of your yard.
Yeah.
When somebody's having a birthday or graduation. She's amazing too. So I know she's sponsoring it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to come with us. Brooke's like, sure, okay.
Brooke's down for whatever.
Well, like I said, she's going to be I'm going to call her the Queen of Oviedo. So actually, we are going to go to break right now. So stay tuned, and when we get back, we are going to start talking to the Queen of Oviedo. So stay tuned.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back. The number to call if you want to join in on the conversation is 321-339-1055. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. Cut out the middleman and go straight to the source. Premier Couple Superstore has everything from sexy bedroom outfits, toys, games, love oils, and everything in between. Premier Couple Superstore, because couples that play together stay together. Also, I want to thank Angela Keen's Hair and Makeup. All right, so we are back from the break, and we're just going to talk with Brooke Boltz, founder of Boltz Legal. So how are you doing? I know we already said hi, but we're saying hi again.
Hello.
She was just explaining to us how she got 0 sleep last night because her as a 3-year-old.
Yes.
3-year-olds. They are savage.
You have a 3-year-old too,
Yes.
don't you? Boy, girl, what?
I have a girl. You have a boy.
Yeah. So he just like Houdini's his way out of everything, huh?
Yeah. He we had him in a crib for a long time, and we moved him to a toddler bed, and he gets out of the toddler bed every night and comes to find me and doesn't want to go back to sleep.
He
so
just
then,
loves you so much. That is
I know. Well,
pure love.
that's the reason why like I stay up all those hours is because he just wants to like cuddle and be sweet, and so I don't have the heart to put him back to bed and let him cry it out. Whereas my husband will just be like, go to sleep.
Yeah.
And
that works.
shut the door. Yeah, that works better. It does. He listens better. He'll like run to his room and climb back in his bed. But for me, I'm like, oh, he just wants to snuggle.
Right.
And so I just stay up all night.
And then you start thinking, how long is this going to happen? So I'm going to just enjoy it.
By about age 7, he's not going to want to.
Well, I know with Anna, Aiden's a sleeper. He slept through the night at like 2 months old, but Anna did.
Okay, you're disqualified.
Anna was another story though, but Tom did this thing where he just sat outside of her bedroom and he didn't talk to her. All the lights were off, and every time she got up, he didn't talk to her. He just picked her up and put her back in, and we did that over for like hours one night, and it just clicked after that. I am like you. I don't have the heart. I'm just like, okay, come here, baby. Let me rock you some more. Let's do this.
Well, they say it's not healthy for them to cry for extended periods of time. It increases cortisol and all sorts of things.
So anyway, so businesswoman and mother. So
Yes.
the last time that I had you on the show, you gave us some insight of the backstory of how Boltz Legal started, and I love the story. It was one of my favorites of last year. So do you mind if we talk about that a little bit more? So
yeah.
Go ahead.
So I've been an attorney for 14 years, and the first 9 years of my practice, I worked for a large firm, worked my way up there. And about 5 years ago, I started my own firm, but the circumstances around it were not really well planned out. And so I started kind of quickly without having a plan, without having savings, without having clients. And so we started in my spare bedroom. My mom and I, because my mom has been a legal assistant all of my life. And so she got promoted to office manager
Really quick.
immediately. So I had an office manager and myself in my spare bedroom. My daughters had to share a room so that we could create Boltz Legal in the guest room. And we went to work. And at one point we started hiring new employees little by little. And I had to move my office into my closet.
So this is what kills me.
Because
the husband comes in, hey, babe, I just need to get my shoes. I'll be right out of your way in just a sec.
I say, thank goodness this is before the Zoom world, because no one, now they'd be like, why do you have clothes hanging behind you? I would have had to do one of those like backgrounds.
Right.
But your closet is large enough for you to sit in it with a desk. Like, that's amazing.
Well, yeah.
I have a big closet too, though.
It was like a longer closet. It was just wide enough for a small desk. We're not talking like executive style desk here. We're talking like, what your kids play at.
Like a TV dinner, like prop up.
Yeah. Like, when your kids have to do homework kind of desk.
Right.
So it was big enough for my computer, and we had to have, the internet people come hook up internet
into the closet.
In the closet. and so I worked out of there. It was actually one of my favorite working spaces because it was quiet.
All right.
And I still to this day, if I need to go somewhere quiet to make a call when I'm at home, I go to the closet.
I think that's awesome. My house, my bedroom closet's bigger than the bathroom, and I don't know why they designed it that way. But I mean, if I ever have enough money just to like gut it, I'm gonna take half the closet away and make it bathroom. It doesn't have a tub.
Yeah.
Houses in the 80s or 70s and 80s, they just made a big shower and didn't even make bathtub or put a bathtub in there. So I was like, that doesn't work for me.
We have a pool. We don't need a bathtub.
I don't think the pool.
It's a little different. It's a little different. I'm with you, girl. I take baths all the time.
But I love that because I'm actually starting to work from home now too, and so we're renovating our office, and I'm gonna have to teach everybody that when that door's shut, I'm at work. So because of interruptions, do you have any animals?
Yes,
So
I have animals and
kids.
I have 3 kids now. At the time when I started, I had 2.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. So when you first started Boltz Legal, you said you started with no clients. Right. So what did you do at that point in time to start building Boltz Legal? Because that's a huge step. I mean, I give you props for that because that takes guts.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really know what to do. No one in my family has ever been a business owner. I didn't have anyone in my family who was ever a lawyer. So I really just started looking for people who had been successful and started trying to see if they would talk to me. I have a friend I went to law school with who has a very successful firm over in the Tampa area, and she was my first call. And I said, "What did you do? I don't have any money, so if you were in my position, what would be your top thing you would do?" Mm-hmm. And she told me join the Rotary Club.
Okay.
So I did, but that would probably not be my advice to
What exactly is a Rotary Club? I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It's a service organization that, raises money and does different, charity type events. But I think like anything, Rotary clubs are different from community to community. Mm-hmm. So it must be that in her particular community, it was a really great networking opportunity. Okay. I joined a Rotary Club, not in Oviedo, one in, quite a ways from where I lived and worked. And that may have been a bad judgment call as well to build my presence in my community. But I tended to think I should be trying to build my business where I was from versus where I lived because I knew more people there. I grew up there.
Okay.
So I was just making the drive to go to the Rotary Club there, and it was a great opportunity to, participate in charity type things, but it wasn't really the best business growth thing. So what I would now recommend for people, what was the most successful for me is joining BNI. Yes. I mean, that was by and large the most successful thing that I've done still to date.
How many years have you been in BNI?
I guess 4.5 years.
And do you remember how that did somebody tell you about BNI or somebody come and recruit you?
Yeah,
into
it was someone I had never met. She messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey, we have a chapter and we are looking for she said personal injury attorney, and would you like to come?" And I had heard of it through other people, but there wasn't a seat available in where I lived. And so she was in Port Orange, which is about an hour from where I lived.
Yeah.
But I was excited for the opportunity and went and joined first meeting.
And then was the Oviedo chapter that you guys are both in the Oviedo chapter, right? Was that one already created at that time, or did that something that developed?
Right. So the Oviedo chapter did not exist at that time. And so I traveled to Port Orange for a couple of years, and then I learned that Oviedo had started a chapter, and so I transitioned to the Oviedo chapter.
Very nice. And Allan, so you said that you're not in a BNI right now, but you have heard of them?
I went to one meeting when I first started. So opened my business, never saw a patient, went to a BNI meeting. And that was my only experience with it.
Well, we're going to have to talk.
Stick to it because actually this young lady over here is the one who talked to me about BNI too. And I was telling her about starting my business. And I was like, same thing that she just said she did for her friend, the lawyer in Tampa. I was doing to Brooke. I was like, okay, I have this idea. And she was the one who was like, if you want your business to move, BNI. Trust it.
Right. Well, before I joined BNI, I had subbed for some people, some of my clients, and it was. I see BNI a little bit different now because when I attended as a sub, the ones that I had they didn't really, I didn't feel very welcome. You know what I mean? They didn't really see me as somebody that would bring value. But when COVID hit and I started business at a distance, that's when, Jenny Andrews and Rachel Roach and those guys, they kind of recruited me into the BNI chapter that I'm in now.
Oh, nice.
And that was one that developed because, like you said, there's BNI's category exclusive, and so personal injury one is one that it's hard to find a BNI group that doesn't already have a PI attorney, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it's the same with the realtor.
I was going to say
Realtors
have
more. Yeah.
So that's why Rachel Roach, who sponsors the show, that's when she was like, okay, we're going to build one. And I was like, okay, that totally works. So BNI, what are some of the other things? Okay, so like I said, so starting those, the networking things, was there anything else that you tried to do to build?
Oh, I have done so much. I have done billboards. I've done television commercials. I've done hanging flyers in grocery stores.
Right.
I mean, I have done social media. I've done what else is there? I've done streaming commercials. I've tried so many things, but
it's networking, isn't it?
It's right. It's meeting people, and when they have met you face to face, then they remember you. It's also kind of something that builds from year to year because each year you have so many happy clients from that year that they tell their friends and family in year 2. And then at the end of year 2, you have 2 years worth of happy clients. So in year 3, you've got that many more people who are, sharing about their experience with your firm. So each year you just have more and more happy clients who continue to share the word. So it just becomes easier as time goes on and your name starts to become recognized in the community.
Right. And how important is it that you're in your community? Because are people more likely to hire an attorney that lives in their neighborhood or in their area?
I don't know because I think
she's giving you that. You could talk about
it. Sorry. In 10 years ago, absolutely, because people had the perception and it probably was reality. You had to come into the office to see your attorney. Nowadays, so much is done virtually that I think it's less of a concern for people that they, have an attorney right down the road. And I think they're very heavily swayed by advertising and things that they see, as well as experiences that they hear from people that they know. I think probably the first factor they look to is, do they know someone in their personal life who has had a good experience with another lawyer is probably the first thing they look to. And then if they don't have that, then they probably go to Google would be my guess.
Google reviews. We talked about that on last week's show. So are Google reviews hugely important for you?
Yes. In fact, I get a number of calls each month that they call because of my Google reviews. My billboard in Oviedo right now says that I have more Google reviews or 5-star Google reviews than any other Oviedo law firm.
That's fantastic. And hang your hat on that one.
And I would love if Google would stop deleting them. So if Google, you're listening.
Why would they delete them?
They do.
I don't know. They do. And I had 302 Google reviews at one point. Dang. And now I think I have 170-ish. So
maybe it's because maybe you're supposed to pay them or something.
No, I think that they think that they're not real or something like that. Maybe they're trying to clean them from bots or whatever. But Brooke's not the only person who said that they've just had random chunks of reviews just get removed.
Wow. Okay, well, I want to talk about that some more, but we are going to go to break, so stay tuned. That's a very interesting topic, so definitely catch us back from the break.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And we are back again. If you want to call or text in, it's 321-339-1055. And apparently I lost track of time because I just took a little exit and I was like, la-da-da-da-da.
I got you covered. Just put your headphones on when I ask you to. We're good.
But this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Artistic Beauty and 33 Tanning Spa with locations in Altamont, Springs, and in Longwood. All right, so before break, we were kind of getting into Google reviews with Boltz Legal. So I do find that very interesting that they can just like literally eliminate.
They're gone. Yep.
So so you said you had it over 300, huh?
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not good at math, but 50-60%. Someone could correct me, but they've taken a lot.
You gotta get closer.
Okay. It feels so loud in my head.
She's aggressive.
So what I want to talk about a little bit now is where Boltz Legal is now and what different areas that you practice. So you started off like in the spare room and then the closet. Where are you at now?
Now we are at 1221 East Broadway in Oviedo, and we have a beautiful office space, an office building. We have 2 suites there. So combined total of the 2 suites is probably around 4,000 square feet.
Oh, wow. That is very large. Where in Oviedo is it again?
On Broadway. So it's right near the sheriff's department and the baseball fields. So
okay,
not too far from downtown Oviedo.
Okay.
It's actually right down the street from the My Oviedo store.
Is it really?
Yeah, so
is it in one of the older buildings? Is it like but it's not on 4th. It's not on Alafaya. It's towards Chiliota, where the baseball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right by the baseball field. It's not an older building. I don't know the year it was built, but it's a newer building.
Wait, I actually know it. I know exactly which one it is now that I'm thinking about it. Because there's really not that much out there as far as buildings and stuff. So 4,000 square feet, and how many employees?
Somewhere between 15 to 17. I don't
Yeah.
know the exact count, but yeah.
All right, that is such a great story. Like you said, those are the types of things that just inspire people to do more and try harder, and to know that you start off in a spare bedroom and a closet, and now you have a very successful firm. So huge congratulations
Thank you.
to you on that. And what do you guys focus on?
We have 3 primary focus areas. One is personal injury, which is, a lot of different things, but the most common type of personal injury that people are familiar with is car accidents. Then we do homeowners insurance cases, which is a really popular practice area right now with the hurricane damage that a lot of people have suffered. And then the third is called, we call it PIP suits, where I represent doctors who have been underpaid in their car accident bills and represent them to get paid fully from car insurance.
And that's something that you brought up last time. And so after we had that conversation, I actually kind of did a little research into it and found out that it's not uncommon. I just hadn't heard of it before, because you really don't, I guess, I don't know, unless you're looking for it, it's not something that you really find out. Is that how you and Allan became partners?
So I don't actually remember how we met. Do you remember how we met?
So I got a random text from someone in her office saying she was going to do an event, but I also I had an event actually scheduled at that same time. And then I was just thumbing through my emails, and I saw in my junk that she had actually emailed me in the past, or I don't know how or whatever, but so I reached out to her and I was like, hey, look, I can't make that event. I feel bad about it, but can I meet up with you? And then that's kind of how that
Is that from
happened.
the Max Med events?
Yes. So that's a good business tip for people. We had invited him to an event. I host they're called Max Med Connections events. They're events for doctors, networking group for doctors. And he couldn't come, but we had his email address. So I put him on my email distribution list. And then because he started getting my emails, then reached out to me to go to lunch or coffee.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I saw the text and then the email kind of like tucked it in. I was like, okay, I recognize that name. And then,
Are you in the Oviedo area too?
I live in Lake Mary, but I practice all over Central Florida.
Right. You know what? I do want to jump. I'm gonna so we're gonna go really in more detail about what you got going on there. But so for Brooke, though, so personal injury, and then in regards to insurance claims. So are you being inundated with those right now because of the hurricanes, the damage and everything?
Yeah, there's a lot coming in. The insurance companies have 90 days to make an insurance
September, October, November,
decision.
December. Okay.
So those decisions just started being made, and so homeowners are becoming unhappy with what the decision was. And so, yeah, I've been getting a lot of calls of unhappy homeowners.
But these homeowners, while these decisions are being made, are they living in homes that are like possibly collecting mold and, you know, their houses are damaged?
Yeah, or they can't even live there. I have several clients who are displaced from their homes and, you know, having to live somewhere else. And sometimes that's being covered by insurance, and sometimes they didn't have enough insurance to cover them to live outside their home for this length of time. So they're having to pay 2 sets of bills.
Wow.
So that's what's really cool when someone calls you, is if they don't have the money, they're already strapped. Is I thought if I hire Brooke, I'm paying a lawyer on top of everything, and that's not how it works.
No?
Well, so interesting that you brought that up, because the legislature just changed the law in December, and they no longer cover attorney's fees.
Oh, no.
So for these hurricane claims, we believe that the attorney's fees will still be paid because those claims originated before the change of the law. But for policies that are written after December 15th of 2022, our attorney's fees are no longer being paid. So it's going to be very challenging for homeowners to proceed legally in the future, because they're going to have to be paying their lawyer out of their repair money, and it's going to essentially make it impossible for them to ever get enough money from insurance through the legal process to be able to actually repair their home.
And that's for homeowners
terrible.
insurance only, like with the other sorts of areas that you cover, it's different.
So yes, well, personal injury has always been that way, that we get paid a percentage of the settlement. So that has always been that way. However, in personal injury, it's a little different, because there is this there's this pain and suffering number out there that is not an actual hard bill that has to be paid. So you can afford to a lot of times pay the lawyer out of the settlement, pay the medical bills out of the settlement, and still the injured person is still making money in their pocket. On a homeowner's insurance claim, it's different, because you're looking at how much does it cost to repair a home. Mm-hmm. And so any money that you take out of that repair is now money they're not getting to repair their home. Mm-hmm. So it's a little different.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible for the homeowners. It's going to be absolutely terrible. It's also going to be particularly terrible for people who have smaller claims, maybe $20,000. And I say smaller because that's how we perceive it.
But $20,000 is still a lot of
that might
money.
as well be $200,000 to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So if you have a $20,000, say, water claim, now you're going to have a really hard time finding a lawyer willing to take that claim to a lawsuit, because no matter what percentage they take from that $20,000, it's not going to be worth the time that it's going to take to litigate that for potentially years on end.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I didn't know that changed. That's actually really, like I said, that's not good. Heather, they talk about that on Air Quality Assessors?
Yes.
Yeah. That's interesting. So do you, as attorneys, kind of get together as a group and try to help come up with some solutions for these homeowners? Because it sounds like it could be, like I said, it hurts the homeowners, but it's going to hurt you guys too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So I actually have a Facebook group that I started a few years ago, because as a solo practitioner, one of the things I missed was being able to go down the hall and ask questions and brainstorm with other lawyers. So I started a Facebook group for other lawyers who do the type of work that I do. Mm-hmm. And so we have done several Zoom calls around this bill and other bills that have come out. And so we've been trying to kind of just brainstorm and come up with kind of what we're all going to do with this transition. And how we're going to navigate these changes and transition away from them. But there's not really any real solution at this point.
Right.
We're all just going to have to walk through it and see how things go and kind of learn as we go.
So this is a law now, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was signed into the law by the governor on December 15th, if I'm recalling correctly.
Is there a possibility that it could have amendments to it? I don't understand how the laws work. I mean, if something's made a law, it doesn't have to be a law forever, right?
Correct. Yeah, it can be changed at any legislative session. It can be changed.
That's when you go to Tallahassee and lobby and all that other stuff, right?
Yes, I don't foresee that happening anytime soon because the people who were promoting it are they have a majority in the House and the Senate, and so they can pass, frankly, anything they want right now.
Wow. Well, that's unfortunate. So I'm curious how this because we have there's another guy that does a brokerage show. It's Air Quality Assessors, Richie Kidwell. And do you know Richie?
Yes.
Yeah. He does a lot to fight for homeowners.
Richie, this bill devastated Richie's business.
Yeah.
It got rid of assignment of benefits, which means
I didn't know it did that too.
Yeah, it's gone. There's no assignment benefits in Florida anymore once this bill fully goes into effect. So his business, as it has operated, cannot operate in that fashion at all. So it will completely devastate his business.
Well, this is interesting times, but I think what you've done as far as putting the Facebook group together to start coming up ideas, because there's always a solution. It might not be apparent right now, but no matter what, if enough people get together and collective, it's going to come back to help the homeowners, because it just seems so ungratefully
because people will
unfair.
start being in situations where they need to do something. So
Wow, well, that's very interesting. But we're actually going to go to break now. This is a little bit of a longer break. And when we get back, we're going to continue this conversation as well as talk to Dr. Allan.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back as we launch into our second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all the regular info for those who may have just joined us. I am Angela Smorito, your host, and we've got DJ Heather, the producer.
Here all day.
Well,
not really, but I'm here for you.
Our co-pilot and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello.
And her business is called Striking Brand, and you can watch all of last year's BaaD Radio episodes on baadradio.com. Melissa also has her own great website, and that is strikingbrands.com. All right. So before we launch back in with Brooke and Allan, we have somebody on the line that's this is a feature that we were going to talk about, rants, raves, reviews. We're starting to still kind of like molding that into how we really want it to do. So we were talking about doing a rave. So Melissa got on Facebook and was asked people if they wanted to be on the radio, to do a rave. And one of the people that popped on there was like, yes, I do. But I want to do a rave for Melissa for Striking Brand. And so I immediately contacted her. I was like, I want that one. So go ahead.
Yeah. So this is Pooja. She came in for headshots. So that's how I met her.
And how to say the name again?
Pooja.
Pooja, are you on the line?
Yeah, I'm on the line. Can you hear me?
Hi, Pooja. This is Brooke Boltz.
Oh, do you know her too?
Yeah, I know her too.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. So tell us about your experience with Striking Brand.
So my experience was amazing. I actually mixed up the dates that I was supposed to have the photo shoot. I thought it was actually Saturday, but it was actually Friday. And Melissa was so accommodating because I actually had my kids. I had to bring them with me. And so she incorporated them into the photos. And then they were hungry. She went above and beyond to buy something for my son.
Oh, my gosh.
And it was just amazing how well she treated them and me. And I felt so at ease. And the pictures came out amazing. And then I also got pictures with my kids in it for my business for my life coaching business, and she was just amazing. She's a mom herself, and I connected with her on that level, and she just did such an amazing job with the pictures and with treating me and my kids very well. So I just wanted to rave about her and her business, and now her photos are great. One of her photos I was on a Times Square billboard. Her photo was used there that she took of me for my business.
Tell me about that.
Zenful Brain. Yeah, so she took a photo of me, and it's for it went up in Times Square in November for my business, cool. Zenful Brain Life Coaching. And so I coach female professionals with burnout to set boundaries and learn to say no. And so I got a piece in a magazine. Her photo was used there, and then also on a Times Square billboard.
That is
so,
fantastic.
I just want to thank her for great photos.
And how did you two get connected?
Actually, through I think it was maybe through the Facebook group.
I think it was.
I'm not sure exactly, but I think that was the way.
Yeah, Facebook.
Through Business at a Distance? Maybe?
I don't know.
That or one of the other local Facebook groups, to be honest. I'm not at this point really sure.
That's okay. I'm plugging my own networking group, so just say yes. Well, that's so awesome. And, I really appreciate you calling in, and I feel the same way. The level that of professionalism that Melissa shows, and it's not even just like with the full production of the BaaD Radio videos, it's like everything one time I asked her if I could borrow her YouTube channel to put something together for my daughter's birthday, and she turned that into this amazing video that basically made me cry.
That was the goal.
So and thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, and if anybody needs anything for burnout and relieving stress and saying
actually,
no.
how are we on time? Do we have? I would be interested. Tell me a little bit about your business.
Yeah, so I'm a physician or a neurologist by training, but I'm also a certified life coach, and now I help coach female professionals with burnout or who are overwhelmed to learn to set boundaries and say no and to get rid of overwhelm. So I myself experienced burnout about 6 years ago as a practicing physician. Background, and I now decided to become a life coach, especially during the pandemic. I saw that there were a lot of females with burnout and they were just overworked, and I really want them to help prioritize themselves. So if anybody's interested, my website is www.zenfulbrain.com.
Did you say Zenful, like with a Z?
Yes, ZENFULBRAIN.com.
Well, that's very interesting. That's definitely outside of the box. So it's just focused on women, huh?
Yes.
I can see that too. Because like I said, women, no offense to you, Allan. Allan's like the only man in the room. So
it's okay.
He's here for support. Well, like I said, that is very interesting. So we'll have to talk more. It'd be great to have you on the show sometime, because I know that, I know I've suffered from like burnout.
Think of every female in your chapter, probably.
Yeah,
everybody.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. And so
thank you so much.
Thank you, Pooja.
So she said through the Facebook group. So, do you find, like I said, so for you, networking, not just BNI, but networking in general is like a huge part of how you grow your business?
Oh, yeah, it's true. Exactly what Brooke was saying is networking is where you find everybody. So, and Facebook, I know, like before I started my business, that's where I put pictures for family who is out of state just to see my kids. And that's pretty much the extent of it. But then when you start a business, like your personal page is now your business page as well.
Yeah, mine is. Yeah. I know some people try to differentiate them. I have a BaaD Radio page, but I still find myself just putting everything on my page and then, some of the stuff on BaaD Radio. So what about Instagram? Like, I'm a Facebooker. Do you guys use other social media platforms besides Facebook?
Brooke is all over the place. She is on TikTok, Instagram.
You do TikTok videos?
I'm
dabble.
Yes, a little bit. Dabble is a good word. I am learning. Facebook is what's most comfortable for me.
Me too.
It's what I understand the best, but I know that there's a lot of people who aren't on Facebook or don't really check it very often. So I've been making an effort in the last few months to really learn more about TikTok and Instagram. And even LinkedIn is a good one too.
I know I need to get back on LinkedIn because that's what it's about. Every time I get on LinkedIn, it's like there's just so many headhunters on there, and that's what it's like. Okay, I'm happy, I'm good.
Yeah. I find the same thing.
So, but for TikTok, it's just videos, right?
Yeah, just videos.
I know I sound so old, but I am old. So
it's videos, but videos is what is hot right now. I mean, videos is where it's at. So
you got to explain to me one of your videos, because I'm trying to figure out what an attorney would do for a TikTok video.
Oh, so I haven't yet, gotten into the do a little dance like
That's
TikTok videos. Stay tuned for that. I'm working on it. I don't want to give anything away. Just kidding. No, I probably will get to that at some point. But right now, it's a lot of just legal tips more than anything else. So.
I have seen one, though, and I don't know if you've seen this, but it was like, it's a scenario, and it looked like a young attorney, but it had to do with like plane tickets. Have you seen that one where she's like, okay, your flight's delayed. You just have to wait. And she's like, well, no, I know that based off of the law that my flight's delayed, so you owe me $100 for this, blah, blah, this, blah, this. And they were like, oh, okay, how did you know that? She's like, well, because I called attorney so-and-so. But I mean, is that kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's so different type of than what I do. So it's hard for me to compare it. But yeah, it's, hey, if you ever get rear-ended, do these 3 things. Or if you slip and fall, don't just get up and walk away. Look around and see what you fell on. Just kind of little tips and things like that. Or things that come to mind from cases I may be dealing with that day that is, hey, don't make this mistake, or be aware of this if this ever happens to you, kind of things like that.
But I mean, is TikTok kind of like Facebook in that you have friends, like
you have followers,
so that's like Instagram then?
Yeah, you have followers, and I found it much easier to build a following on TikTok than Facebook.
Okay.
I've had my business Facebook for 5 years, and I've had TikTok for maybe 6 months, and I have more TikTok followers than Facebook followers, and I've been working at it for 5 years on Facebook. So
but for TikTok, it's just original content. You don't buy ads on TikTok, or do you?
You can boost your post, and I think you can buy ads too. I haven't done the actual ad part yet, but I think you can.
Because I know, like I said, with Facebook, you have like your original content. So I'll do posts for people like Angela Keene, for the hair and stuff like that. But buying paid ads is a totally different story. So I didn't know if TikTok works the same way.
Yeah, I think you can do both.
And you've gotten feedback. You've gotten people calling you from TikTok?
No. No one's called me from TikTok, but I think it just is part of the ongoing growth of your brand. And the more people see you in different arenas, then the more they recognize your name and then think of you when they have a need for a legal service.
Is it fun?
Yes.
Okay, then that's really
sometimes
good.
Sometimes it's fun. Other times it's like, what am I gonna video on today? I gotta come up with something.
Do you have like a TikTok coach?
No, no, not yet.
Is it your daughter? I know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my daughters, they're cute. They're banned from TikTok right now, but they would love to be my coach if they weren't banned.
Oh yeah. Do you do TikTok?
No, I need to get into. I mean, I have a channel, but I need to get back into it. It's like what you were saying. It's like you get to a point where you're like, okay, what am I going to post? Or I'm so busy with work that social media is the last thing, but it really shouldn't be, because that's where you build. Like how you said, people see your name.
Well, we could. I mean, BaaD Radio could have TikTok. Do TikToks, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That'd be kind of fun. What about you, Allan?
I have a TikTok, but
oh my God, we all are exactly the same. Heather's over here going, I'm killing it on TikTok.
Heather's like, do you want me to be your coach?
So like, if I'm taking a video, I'll put it on TikTok, but it's really hard to be like, okay, I'm treating this patient, let me break out this camera and video. And it just there's just something about that for me anyway, I don't want to cross the line with being professional and but I try to do it every now and then. So especially if I'm with, some of my sports teams and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just think, like I said, Facebook is something, like you said, I know, and I'm used to it, and I understand how it works. Even Instagram, I forget about it, and so I won't post on there. but I've noticed that sometimes you can connect the two of
Yeah,
them.
that's what I was gonna say. Instagram and Facebook, you can link it so you can post it once and it'll go to both. It makes it a little bit easier.
Can you do it on Facebook first and have it post to Instagram, or does it have to be
I'm
Instagram
almost
to
positive.
Yeah, you can do both. Either one.
Because that would be the direction that I want to go, because I always will go straight to Facebook no
Right.
matter what.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I want to figure out a way to grow this this feature, because I would love to give more people the opportunity to come in and rave about business owners. So what I've noticed, and I think I sent you a message on this, is that what happens is sometimes when you put it out there to invite people to call in, they immediately get nervous and like, no, I don't want to do that. However, that I like you said, and then also sometimes you get inundated with people, because I was doing a bad business tip. You get a ton of people that will comment and post and involved, and then the next one it's kind of like crickets. So what I'm thinking is that we develop a relationship with some of those groups, like the Apopka Rants, Raves, Reviews.
Right.
There's one for Winter Garden, and actually somehow focus on inviting them to be part of it, so that we can have something a little bit more developed, and then they can really take advantage, because this would be a really cool way for people to plug.
That makes sense, and then they're already in that realm anyway.
Yeah. All right. So how are we? Because like I said, I'm ready. All right. Well, we're gonna go to break, and when we get back, we are gonna hop back in with Dr. Allan. So stay tuned.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Hello, and we are back. And this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Are your roots needing a touch-up? Not your hair, your lawn. You like that?
I love that. Cute.
At Ground Up Property Services, they can help you make sure that your grassroots are doing well underground, but they can also give your lawn that just stepped out of the salon look with their new lawn painting service. Check out this look and give them a call at 407-468-4295, or you can also visit them at groundupinc.net. Also want to thank new sponsor this year, which is Crazy Muscle Nutrition in Longwood, and Kazoo Creative, who manages our website. All right, so Allan's been sitting here nice and patiently, freezing to death. So
why did I agree to this?
So like I said earlier in the show, I said that Dr. Allan and I actually don't have a relationship until now, but this is Brooke's guest. That's what I was trying to say. So, Allan, tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so On the Move Chiropractic is the name of it. It is a 37-foot converted RV, so it's a mobile clinic. And the whole premise behind it was I was going to take it to job sites, but I started it in 2020. A lot of people were just like, hey, we're not working right now. So I started to actually get invited into gyms at first. So
that makes sense.
And I actually never really wanted to be involved in the gyms, even though I go to them. But it started to work, pretty well. And then I kind of slowly turned into this walk-in clinic, which I never thought was going to happen. But
did you have like a brick and mortar before the
I
RV?
didn't. So what happened before, so if we kind of go back to the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that.
So it's funny because, maybe about 15 years ago, I was working in a restaurant, and at the time I was doing some multi-level marketing stuff and things like that, stuff that, people kind of shy away from, but it was pretty good because it made me kind of reach out and talk to strangers is what it essentially did. And then I remember one time I was in the restaurant and I'm like, I bet I'd make more money if I had a hot dog cart right outside here. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, how do I do that? And back then it was harder to find information on, what you needed and stuff like that.
To start a business.
Yeah. So I started to think, okay, well, what if I just kept moving it? And then I created a following and people found out where I was going to be and this and that. It didn't turn into anything, but it's funny because fast forward, that's kind of what my business is now. And it wasn't even consciously, it just happened that way. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I worked in 3 clinics when I got out of school, and when I first got out of school, I just wanted a job. Then I wanted to learn how
Were you in this area, or did you relocate here?
Yeah, I relocated here. So I'm from South Florida.
Okay.
So first job, I thought I was going to end up in Jacksonville. Then I thought I was going to end up maybe in Tampa, but first contract in my hand was for Oviedo, actually. It was a personal injury clinic, and I worked there for about 4 months, and I wasn't putting enough back braces on people, so they kindly let me go.
And I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So next job, I took out in the Villages, which was quite a hike, but I learned a lot of other stuff out there. And then finally, I went to a wellness clinic, and so I worked at all these places, and I kind of was like, okay, well, what are the problems? The problems are people, they're too busy to get to care. So that was one of them. The other one was, some people don't have insurance, some people can't afford it, and this and that. So the last place I worked, I was literally behind a wall, and it was just me. And I'm like, well, I'm already doing everything. I'm already treating the patient. I'm already getting them to come back. The only thing I'm not doing is getting them in the door. So if I can just do that, which I've done that my whole life with things. So
you said that you started doing marketing when you were at the restaurant.
So I started doing that stuff back then. I also always worked for either commission only job or tips. So there was nothing guaranteed. So I think kind of from that background, it made me very comfortable with starting a business.
Right. I'm the same way. Like if the thought of taking a salaried job does not make sense to me. I could not imagine not making more money based off of my activity. So I totally get that. But some people are scared to death of it.
Yeah, I think just because I had a salary one time, and it was the very last job I had. Or no, actually, no, right out of school I had. But, I started chiropractic school when I was 31, so I had already had plenty of jobs before that. So this is, I'm very used to kind of just...
You're a hustler.
Yeah, exactly.
And what got you into doing chiropractic work?
So I was always into training. I wanted to train athletes. I was going to school for that. So one of the first speakers that came into one of my intro classes, because I wanted to be a conditioning coach for a sports team, but one of the first speakers was a chiropractor. And I didn't really think much of it. I thought that was, kind of cool or whatever, but we had to shadow different professions, and I shadowed a physical therapist, I think an occupational therapist, maybe I think a conditioning coach, and the only one I didn't shadow was a chiropractor. So I was working in a restaurant. I ended up meeting a guy who was a chiropractor. I don't know, we were just talking, and he's like, oh, you should, come in. And so I ended up shadowing him, and I thought it was so cool. And I'm like, this is kind of like right in alignment with everything that I would want to do. So I reached out to the school. I got all my prereqs, but when I finished undergrad, I didn't really want to go to school anymore. I was like, okay, let me go try working. So I'm like, let me go try working. So I went out.
I understand that. I hate school.
Yeah. And then I found that all I could really get with a bachelor's degree was a sales job. So I kept getting sales jobs. And one of them was a pharmaceutical sales job.
Been there. Actually, I did respiratory equipment, so it was health. Yeah, been there.
But what I found was I really liked studying about the medications for some odd reason. And
I think it's cool. You found something.
Yeah. So then I kind of, I was at a point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to apply to chiropractic school because it was something that was still on my mind 4 years later. And it's actually, I can go back and credit my aunt for this, because when I graduated undergrad, I was like, I'm too old to continue school. I need to start working. And she's like, 4 more years are going to go by either way. So you might as well do it. Well, 4 more years passed, and I started thinking about it, and I was like, I would have been done by now. Why didn't I just do it? So then I did it, and then it's kind of how that happened.
Now here you are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ann. That's good advice.
No, I'm a firm believer that you're never too old. I love the inspirational stories of people that start later on in life. J.K. Rowling, the author of all the Harry Potter books, is one of my idols, because she didn't start until, I don't know, later on in life. So, okay, so you went to school, then you, so how did you come up with the idea of being a mobile chiropractic office?
So I've always been enamored with food trucks and things like that.
Because they're fun.
Yeah, exactly. And So there was even a stint in time where I was personally training people out of my SUV. I was collecting fitness equipment and going out to the fields and doing things like that. So I've kind of always had that in the back of my mind. And when I finished school, I think I was in my third job, and they had mentioned that there was a Lucky's that was supposed to open in the plaza, and it was supposed to drive in all this business. But
what's a Lucky's?
It's like a supermarket.
Okay.
But it was just delayed, never happened. And I just started thinking, man, that, if you're tied to a lease and like you think this plaza is going to be so good and it just never does anything, and you're really relying on that walk-in traffic, that might, be a struggle. So I actually, from there, I looked at a couple of office spaces, and when I reached out, nobody ever got back to me and followed up. The rent was through the roof, and I'm like, what am I going to do? So me and my fiance were driving one day to Tampa for something, and we were like, oh, let's just go look at these RVs, because we had kind of mentioned maybe that idea. And we looked at a few. They looked really tacky and like.
Were they older ones?
No, they were even newer ones, but they just looked like RVs. And I'm like, this doesn't look good. I didn't like the inside of it. It looked too homey and stuff. And so finally we went another visit, and we went back, and I don't know why.
But by this time, the idea was already developed.
You're
like, I want to have a mobile chiropractic office.
It was still in my mind,
right?
And then so we went the last time. And the sales rep, showed us a couple things. We're still like, no. And then he's like, okay, well, oh, you know what? There is this one that was, I guess it was still being worked on. So it was, halfway hanging out of the shop.
Right.
And I looked at it, and my heart sunk into my chest, because it was so big. And I'm not the type of person that likes to really like be like, hey, look at me. But I knew that was the one that it had to be. And that's the one we got, and we signed it right there. And I asked the guy, hey, can you keep this parked here for a couple weeks for me while I figure out what I'm going to do with it? And he's like, yeah. So I went home, I started looking for storage, and then and I still had a job at the time,
right.
And I'm like, okay, well now I'm on the hook for this thing. So now,
and your fiance, she was supportive of all of this.
So the one thing about her that I can definitely credit is she is very supportive. She was the type that was like, you have an idea, let's do it. I actually, from some of my ideas in the past, I've been left before by girlfriends because they just thought I was too out there.
But I mean, that's definitely outside of the box.
I'm
going to say that.
And it wasn't the most, I just trusted myself is the best way to put it, because at first, I had this big RV. I got it wrapped. I had nowhere to take it. I had no patience. And I didn't know if it was going to work, but I knew I was going to make it work. And so that's
confidence. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And I had nothing to go off of.
And how long ago was this?
I'm about to enter my third year in business. So I bought it in the summer of 2020. I didn't see a patient until January of 2021, and then I've been going for 2 years now.
So did you have to like kind of gut it and put stuff in there, or I mean, how does that? Because
I kind of designed it myself. I didn't have to really gut anything because everything was hidden in it, so it was a good find for me. I mean, it was like 7 years old, so it had like an old wood interior that kind of looked like an old office-y type of thing.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good idea, just having the mobile aspect of it. I've seen so many businesses now that have trended that way. Like I know I've seen a bunch of like pet grooming, like masseuse.
Well, I meant mobile detailing too.
Detailing. There's a fitness instructor in BNI who will come and do mobile. That's so convenient with everybody, how busy they are.
How are we on? Because I want to ask. Okay, because what I'm really curious about is how. I mean, who have you been like servicing? Is it businesses? I mean, because after we get back from the break, I want to talk about like the stuff that you're doing with the sports groups. But I meant like right now, who are some of your clients?
Okay, so I started. So when I started, I got invited into a gym. I just started walking around showing people pictures of this thing I had that I had nowhere, and I was doing it all face to face because I didn't really know. I tried the whole LinkedIn thing, but it led me nowhere. I mean, I had so many connections, nothing led me to anything. It was just face to face stuff. So I would just ask for a manager, show him this thing I had, and I'm like, hey, I'm a chiropractor.
That takes so much balls to do that.
Yeah, you have to go face to face because I feel the same way when you say you just trust yourself. And if you get in front of somebody, then you're like, I just need to be in front of somebody, and then I'll make it happen.
So,
like I'm the same
so
way.
I'll tell you, okay, I don't want to get too into this because it's a very long story. I can go on forever. But the first place that invited me into closed down in a week. Had nowhere to go. This business owner invited me in. She was in a plaza, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you do something with me? You could just park it out here, and we can kind of do something together." And I was like, "Okay." So I had this idea. I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to be in this plaza." So I made a list, a sign up sheet, and there was 31 businesses in this big plaza. I went into each one of them, talked to each manager. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to be here on this day. This is what I'll charge if you want to." So I did this, and then I came back the next week to collect the list. Nobody knew where the lists were. They were all in the garbage. So the first 5 places I walked into, nobody knew. Nobody remembered me. Nobody knew anything. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm not going to collect any of these. I'm just going to show up because I'm going to psych myself out. So I ended up going back, and from week 1 on, I was doing pretty good. I mean, I had some good referral sources just because I introduced myself to everyone, and then it was just
I love that. Definitely a hustler. We are going to head on to break, and when we get back, we're going to finish talking to Allan because I'm really enjoying this story.
Florida Man Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And we are back for our last segment. And this segment is brought to you by Impact Electric of Orlando, who focuses on residential and commercial electrical work. When talking about quality of work, Impact Electric is one of the best. We've used Impact Electric so many times, and I've referred them out so many times. So if you are in need of a good, trustworthy electrician, call Zach and his team at 407-747-0874. Also wanted to give a huge thank you to Boltz Legal, who is part of our show sponsors as well. And then Rachel Roach Realty, a Coldwell Banker realtor. Realtor. That's a hard one for me. With the sea of realtors out there, choose the one that thinks of you first and not their commission. All right, so when before we left, we were kind of getting into some more of the development of Allan, Dr. Allan's business, but I find it fascinating. So, okay, so where did we leave off? Remind me. Okay, we're all like,
probably just how I kind of started getting my first patients.
You started knocking on doors.
Yeah.
And so then on break, I asked you, I was like, so you have a route. So you did or didn't have a route?
I've had a route. Right now I still kind of do, but my schedule is subject to change. But what I do is I reach out to my patient base when that changes.
So tell me how it works. So your patient base, how do people pay? Is it they're like sessions? I mean, I keep thinking I get chiropractor confused in my head with massage.
Yeah. So what's like a normal session? Like what would a normal?
So I'm not like other chiropractic clinics. When I get walk-ins, for me personally, it has to be an impulse buy for them because they're seeing me for the first time. I really don't have time for them to have to think about it. I'm a one-man show. I can't verify everybody's insurance, so I have to make it affordable. I basically charge about the rate of a copay, and that'll include everything. So I'll do exams, I'll do soft tissue work. If I got to do therapies, I'll do it. And I kind of look at it as a buffet, and if you're running a buffet, some person might eat for 2 hours, some person might eat half a plate. So I might spend 3 minutes with one patient, but I might have to spend 20 minutes with another, and that's fine for me because as I do it patient after patient, it all builds up in the end.
But is a lot of it like what they call them adjustments? Is that what a lot of people?
I do full spine adjusting.
What are some of the other services? Because I know the only experience I really have with chiropractor is from an auto accident that my daughter got into. And then my husband, Tom, had some serious back stuff as well. and he ended up using one of those stretching machines. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, so everybody is going to be it's the same premise. I mean, people are going to come in with their complaints. I'm going to look at those, but then I'm also going to assess the whole spine. So there's going to be some compensations. People are going to get joint restrictions just from daily activities. I mean, it's through posture change, trauma, repetitive movement. When there's an uneven wear pattern on the spine, the nervous system is going to lock that joint up, and the spine's actually a series of joints. So as that happens, you're overworking above and below those segments. So basically what I tell people is I'm going to look for those restrictions. We're going to restore function to those joints so that you can be able to withstand more stress, and it'll take pressure off the nervous system as well.
And then you mentioned also to me that you have some contracts with some sporting teams around here. Tell us about that.
Right. So I am in year.
And how did you get these?
Okay. So I'm in year 2 with the Orlando Solar Bears. So they're the affiliate of the Lightning. They play at the Amway Center. So season's going on now. If you guys get a chance, go check them out. And then also the Orlando Predators and their dance team. So the Predators have been around for a long time. I remember seeing them on TV.
I used to go to Predators games 20 plus years ago.
Right. So
it was back when everybody was flashing their boobs all the time. I'm serious. That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had them for 2 seasons. And then I also have their dance team. So that all started the same way. It was just by meeting people. I was showing my bus off, and I met one of the players, and they just, so happened to not have a chiropractor. So they went and talked to their coach, and, coach talked to the GM, and I just kept following up. Finally, that happened, and I got in with them. And then
do you have a contract with them, or just they just say, hey, can you come at this time, and then they schedule it with their players?
Yeah. So I actually show up to their practice. So it's all my sports teams. It's I go to their practice once a week, and it could be at the Amway Center. It could be just at their practice facility. And sometimes I take the bus. Sometimes I go right in the locker room. But it was just persistence. And then when I had the Predators, I said, okay, I want another sports team. And I reached out to a bunch of them, and I reached out to the Solar Bears, and I thought, no way are they going to respond to me. And they did. It just so happened that their chiropractor, they didn't want to renew things with them, and
I have a lead to you too, because the XFL is coming back,
right?
And it's headed up by Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a thing too. Do you remember the XFL?
I do, and I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn, but I did not get a response.
Well, we'll have to talk because
let Angela.
Well, it goes both ways too, because I'm interested in having Solar Bears on the show. I would love to have the Predators on the show. Like I said, I think it would be really super fun because if you think about it, though, they are local businesses.
It's community outreach. They do like to because they definitely have people that would want to come up here probably.
And next week we have Orlando City Soccer on, which is I'm super excited about that. We talk about everything that's going on with that's another one too I could probably give you introductions to is Orlando City. So yes, this is networking at its best. So what do you see in the future? I mean, how you can't really grow because you're a one-man show. I mean, what do you kind of see? Are you just kind of
I didn't see myself as a one-man show. It's just kind of how I am right now, just because I want to make sure that I'm completely overwhelmed before I bring somebody on, because for me, the worst thing would be to promise somebody a job and then not be able to keep them employed. So for me right now, it's I can handle everything by myself, so that's why I do it that way.
It sounds like you're doing all your marketing as well. I mean, you're
I'm doing everything. I'm
the full
show.
100%. That's
a
overwhelming.
Show. It is, but I think it's different for me because every aspect of the job is just something different. So it's not monotonous. It's and I don't even think about it. I just do it, and it's something I created. So the coolest thing for me was having these sports teams and getting to look up and seeing a company I designed in lights across the Tron, and
what do
it's
you mean
just
a company design?
So I created this company and
yeah,
so,
yeah. Oh, I know.
So
right?
I mean, so to be able to do that and to see that stuff, this doesn't feel like work to me. It's just sometimes obviously there's some long days, but it's most of the time this just seems like my life, and it's just how it is.
How long are your days?
Do
you have like weekends off, or is it just?
I work weekends. So I have an appointment after this that I'll be going to.
Do you have the RV here?
No.
We're going to go tour it.
I will.
Angela was about to get an adjustment.
I got a tour. It's on my TikTok.
Oh.
Is it? Okay.
I actually will have it over here this week, though. So I'm going to be over at RDV Monday through Thursday. Well,
they do like a food truck thing over there.
Yeah, so they're doing the Battle of the Badges. So it's a 18th annual hockey tournament for police and firefighters. So there's 30 teams that are around the U.S., and it's a benefit to raise money for those that have fallen. And so I'll be out there Monday through Thursday adjusting those guys.
But when you do that sort of thing, I mean, like you said, do they have a contract with you and they just pay you, or do those individual people have to pay you just like if you were to be at an office building?
I mean, it could go either way.
Okay.
For this one, it's just individual. So they'll promote me, and then I'm going to donate a portion of everything I collect. So
very nice.
Yeah, and then but if it's a job site, it can be set up either way. It could be, the job can pay for it. I can charge the individual, or we can set up something, if it's enough people with the same insurance, we could do maybe an out-of-network benefit type of thing.
So you have to do all of your point of sale stuff too.
For now. I mean, it's okay because nothing's gotten to the point where it's too difficult.
Well, I'm very impressed. What about events, like outdoor events and stuff?
I like and dislike those because I find that me personally, I do better as a one-man show. I know other businesses probably do well when there's other businesses there, but in my experience, I've set up at a lot of vendor type things, and it's never as good when it's not just me.
I was gonna say I can give you a contact for the people who put on Earth Day birthday, so people can come out of the mosh pit.
If
you don't
you
have to get adjusted to go back in.
Hey, that's a good idea.
I mean, if you're at a place and there's a bunch of food trucks and there's a chiropractor, I mean, you're
gonna
probably
say
going to
that.
go for the food first.
Yeah, because usually there's people who have like the treats and stuff, and then everybody's migrating to the popcorn booth, and you're like, wait, I have stuff too.
Right. Well, I know we're at the 2-minute mark, which is insane. So it's 2 hours has gone by, and I just want to thank you guys so much for being our guests today. So what I want to do right now is give everybody the opportunity to go around and give all your contact information. So
Thank you.
talk close, or she's going to yell at you.
Okay. This is Brooke Boltz again. I am at Boltz Legal, and my contact information is 888-BOLTZ Legal is my office number. And you can also contact me directly by email at brookeboltz, BROOKE, Boltz, BOLTZ, at boltzlegal.com. Or I'm on all the social media channels if you want to send me a direct message. Boltz Legal, BOLTZ Legal.
All right. Awesome.
And I'm Dr. Allan Petrilak with On the Move Chiropractic. So my phone number is 833-BACK-BUS. You can call or text that.
Love it.
My Instagram is the Back Bus, and then I'm On the Move Chiropractic on TikTok and on Facebook.
Awesome.
All right, and I'm Melissa Jacob. I do Striking Brand. Striking Brand is my business. I do photography and videography for businesses. You can find me on just about any social media platform, Striking Brand, or www.strikingbrand.com.
And I am Angela Smarito, and you can reach out to me at BaaD Radio. My website is baadradio.com. That's BAAD radio.com. And my email address is angela@baadradio.com. So you guys, thanks for being listening in today, and we hope to catch you next week. Have a great week.